right, wild card weekend. We're getting into a great AFC matchup that we actually saw a couple of weeks ago. It's the Chargers versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I love me some Phillip Rivers. I really do. The guy's got a fire to him out there on the field. He's a great leader, and I just love it when he's mic'd up. You know, he keeps the guys loose. He's a great team guy, and it'll be sad to see him retire one day. I'm glad he's in the playoffs this year, and I was really hoping they could make a great run. Problem is, they're going up against a team that is just seemingly purpose-built to beat the Chargers. If it was anybody else, I would say the Chargers had it in the bag. They are undefeated on the road, which is unique in this league. So that can't be discounted. They are playing in Baltimore. One of those teams has lost in that stadium, you know. Just Baltimore plays differently than most teams since Lamar Jackson has started for them. They have a great defense, first of all. I think they're giving up only the second least points in the league. They had, I want to say, the number one yardage defense. And they clamped down on the wide receivers. They actually have the defensive secondary that can match up with a team like the Chargers. And the Chargers have fantastic receivers. So if they get all of their receivers healthy and running full speed, they can challenge this defensive secondary for the Ravens. But there's been some injury concerns, you know? If people are running at half speed, quarter speed, if they're out there just as decoys, that's going to get snuffed out. So you also have Melvin Gordon, who had a late season injury. Now, if he's fully healthy, great. All right, they've got a couple of running backs then. They've got Gordon, who can handle the bulk of things, and Eckler, who can receive out of the backfield. But, you know, there's injury concerns there. So if they're both at full speed, that's one thing. If either one of them is not good enough to go at their peak, that's going to get snuffed out quickly. These things are going to happen because the offensive line for the Chargers is very poor. They're relying essentially on Phillip Rivers to release the ball quickly, call out everything at the line of scrimmage. You saw him do this against the Chiefs effectively because the Chiefs were just manhandling those guys in pass protection. But Phillip Rivers was able to call a few coverage adjustments out at the line to give himself just enough time to get the ball off for the perfect play. It's one thing to do that against the Chiefs' defense, which is pretty bad. You're not going to be able to do that consistently against the Ravens squad that really knows how to clamp down. So, can your defense hold off Baltimore? The answer is probably going to be no. Now, it's mostly because Baltimore is a run-first team. It doesn't matter who the running back is. Gus Edwards, hopefully, you know, he'll be full speed and doing well. But really, Lamar Jackson puts an X factor in there. At any given time, there are 3 running potential threats behind the line of scrimmage. They have a very strong offensive line, and they have adequate enough receivers that when you really bring everything in to stop the run, they can do some serious damage to your defensive secondary. So Baltimore is strong everywhere where the Chargers are weak. Baltimore's strengths on offense line up with the Chargers' weaknesses. Baltimore's strengths on defense line up with the strengths on the Chargers' offense. So it's not that the Chargers aren't a good team. They really are. They're just coming up against probably the worst matchup for them in the entire AFC playoff bracket. So I expect the Ravens to win this. I expect them to win it pretty handily. It's going to be by a touchdown or more. As much as I would love to see Phillip Rivers do very well in this playoffs, because I think it's one of his last chances to get a quality team into the Super Bowl, I just don't see it this year. The Ravens squad is hot at the right time, and they're just going to punch him in the mouth.